Here's an outline that you can use for having a mentoring conversation. It's the GROW model. G-R-O-W, GROW. It's a framework, an outline that I use for having mentoring conversations. Let's go through it, starting with the G. G stands for goals. Here one asks the delegate about their goals, where they see themselves heading in life, in serving God, of course. In the next 5 to 10 years, where do they see themselves? What are their goals? Well, that's the G. Coming along to R, R stands for realities. What are the realities for the delegate right now? Where are they now? How are they serving God in the present? How are they being trained? Now, often as we talk about the realities, it flows over into the next part of the conversation, O. There are two O's, opportunities and obstacles. Here we particularly want to chat about if they're heading towards the particular goals that they've outlined before, what are the opportunities that they have now for being trained? What are the opportunities they have for growing? What are the opportunities that they have for taking the next step towards an apprenticeship? For me, years ago, I'd had quite a bit of experience in small group ministry and upfront platform ministry, but had never really done any one-to-one discipleship. It was in a mentoring conversation at a previous recruit conference about 20 years ago that got me to move into doing some one-to-one discipleship. Chatting with a delegate, you can help them articulate what opportunities they have to move, take a next step towards the goal that they might have. But alongside opportunities, I want to look at some of the obstacles that they might come up against, that might be preventing them taking that next step. They might be necessary things, but they might be obstacles that they can work around. Things to do with their character, or their convictions, or their cheer squad. Are there particular people who are holding them back from taking that next step? Do they need to get more information? Are there competencies that they need to grow in? You see, as we move from the realities of where they're at the moment, we want to talk with them about the opportunities and the obstacles to taking that next step. G, R, O, and last of all, W. What's next? This is not going to be a very long conversation, usually less than an hour, but we want to come up with a what's next. We want to help the delegate to come up with a what's next. What's the clear next step that they can take towards an apprenticeship? What's the next thing for them that they need to work out, that they need to work through, that they need to make a decision on? What next? Now, it can be sometimes a bit tricky in landing this part of the conversation for the delegate. I sometimes use this question, ask them, hey, coming out of this conversation today, what's one thing I can pray for you? Or sometimes I even pause and ask the delegate to pray for themselves as a result of having this conversation. And I listen in, and quite often they can articulate something that will be a what next step for them. To usually kind of help them make it a little bit more concrete and bed it down, I'll ask them if I can contact them in about 2 weeks' time to ask them how they're going with that thing and pray with them again. That's the GROW model. Very simple. G, goals. R, realities. O, opportunities and obstacles. W, what's next? Now, you'll have all kinds of skills, and we'll need to keep growing all kinds of skills for having conversations and listening to other people. It's a lifelong part of our training. Now, if you're doing this little workshop and training with other people, it'd be good for you to chat about those kind of skills and different things that you've learnt and observed. But here's one thing, one tip that I've learned about having good mentoring conversations. One question that I kind of keep in my kit bag. It's a simple question. Why? It really helps a delegate to think and stops me from talking too much. To ask why. A delegate has to think through their motivations and why they think something, why they're going to do something, or why they're not going to do something. Use the question, why? And it also gives me time to think and listen and process as to what the delegate is saying. Now, there's a resource to go with this workshop where you can revise the GROW model and come up with a list of your own questions that you could use in a mentoring conversation. And if you're with another apprentice, have a go at mentoring each other. Mentoring each other in your next step as God trains and equips you to be a gospel worker. And at your LCG, there might be an opportunity for you to sit in on a mentoring conversation that your trainer might be having with another delegate. Just make sure you get their permission first. I'm really excited by what mentoring conversations are at the MTS Recruit Conference. And I look forward to and are excited for the opportunity that you'll have to do that in the future. So thanks for engaging in this little workshop, this bit of training, and I hope it goes really, really well for you. Have a great rest of the weekend.